Welcome back to Grow Joyfully. We are going to attempt to make some sourdough bread today, and I say that with complete fear and trembling. I made one yesterday, and needless to say, it would have been a very good doorstop. That's all I have to say. Donna, I think you would be very disappointed in me. First of all, you'd laugh your head off, and then you'd be disappointed in me. I had to throw it away, and let me tell you, when I put it in the garbage, it made a very resounding thunk in the bottom. That's all I'm going to say about that. All funniness aside, I have a different recipe. This one is from Farmhouse on Boone, and I'd like to do a shout out to them. She's got a very wonderful channel. I recommend that you go and find it, and I will try to put the link up. So what we're going to do is follow her recipe today and see if I can make something a little lighter than a doorstop. So let's get started. I already have the 3.5 cups of flour. I'll let you look at the recipe there. And I have the 1/2 cup of bubbly sourdough starter. Now I need 2 teaspoons of salt and 1 1/3 cups of water. I was just going to make it again without filming it, and then I thought, why not? Why not film it? Janita's well wishes, BF Garden, she has a feature that we post our successes and our failures. Well, I'm going to do that here on Grow Joyfully. I'm going to recommend that you post your successes and failures in cooking and baking. So let's get going. Okay, so we need to add 2 teaspoons of salt. And then I have the 1 1/3 cup water. It never seems to say whether it wants you to add cold, warm, hot water. Now, out of the process of elimination and using my brains, I will put in warm water. I wouldn't think that cold would help the sourdough grow, and I think that maybe the hot would destroy the natural yeast. So, we are choosing right in the middle. So I don't know what I did or didn't do with the dough yesterday, but it was stiff and unrelenting, and it never did rise very much. Like I said, by the time I had it baked, it was a very, very wonderful doorstop. So we are going to mix this up. So we've added all the ingredients here. 3.5 cups of flour, 1/2 cup of starter, 1 1/3 cups of water, and 2 teaspoons of salt. So the instructions are to combine the warm water, active starter, salt, and flour with a wooden spoon, or even just your hands if you want, in a large mixing bowl. So that's what we're doing. Now I know it's supposed to have a certain look and a certain consistency, but I really feel like I am flying by the seat of my pants and operating in the dark and etc., etc. I don't know what the consistency is supposed to be like. I could make yeast dough in my sleep, so it's just a matter of practice. But I did make banana sourdough muffins successfully, and pancakes, sourdough pancakes. So that's 2 things I've done. Honestly, I'm still waiting to be smitten by sourdough. I don't see the hype, what it's all about yet. Maybe that's to come. I don't know. So I'm just going to work this with my hands and see what kind of a dough we can come up with. After I get it mixed up, it says cover with plastic wrap or a lid and allow to rest for 30 minutes for the water to hydrate the flour. So we will go to that point and I will be back. Already, this recipe feels a lot different than yesterday's. And I don't know if you're supposed to knead it so much here, but we've got to incorporate the flour. It would stand to reason. Looks like we see a little bit of bounce back and elasticity. So maybe there's hope for it yet. Okay, I hope that is mixed enough. I know the whole idea is that you don't over mix it, so we're going to set it right here in the bowl and cover it with plastic. Okay, now I will put it right here by my oven where my oven's already turned on and warming up because I'm going to be making some other things. Okay, we have the plastic wrap on and I'm going to set it right here on the counter next to my oven. I have my oven preheating for some other things I'm going to be baking today. So I'll set the timer for 30 minutes, then we'll come back and we'll take a look at it. Okay, it's been a half an hour. Let's see if it has any life to it at all. I guess you're supposed to wet your fingers and then kind of do a pull up and fold and turn it around and do a pull up and fold, and then we're going to cover it again for another half hour and see how it progresses from there. Okay, it's been another 30 minutes and it's time to wet my fingers again, and we'll do another stretch and fold. And then I'll cover it up and we'll wait for another 30 minutes. Okay, another half an hour is up. Time to wet my fingers and do another stretch and fold. And I'm going to cover it up again. You definitely don't make sourdough bread quickly. So if you need a quicker recipe, this isn't the one. Okay, it's time for another stretch and fold session. I hope this looks right. It looks a lot better than the recipe I made yesterday. A lot more activity to it, a lot smoother, a lot thinner. The other one yesterday was just so stiff, and I made sure I checked the amount of water. Stretch and fold. And then it looks like we might do one more session of stretch and fold, and then it says let the dough bulk ferment in a warm place until it is doubled in size. This could be anywhere from 6 to 12 hours or longer, depending on the temperature of your kitchen, maturity of your starter, and etc. Be careful not to let it over ferment. So I guess there's a difference between the sourdough smell and an over fermented smell. So now I guess we're just going to let it set. I think we've done the 3 stretch and folds that it required. So we're just going to let it set for the next, even if I let it set 6 hours, that'll make it 9 o'clock when I start baking it, 9 o'clock at night. So, unless this razzle-dazzles me to death, I don't know if I'll do it again. But nothing ventured, nothing gained. So that's where we're going to stop right now, and I will come back in 6 hours, probably around 9 o'clock tonight. So thanks for hanging in there and going through my sourdough adventures with me. It is 7:21 at night. I think it's looking promising. I don't know whether to leave it for a couple more hours or leave it overnight. So stay tuned. We're babysitting. It's 9:30 at night, and I'm going to bake this thing. It looks a lot better than the one I made yesterday. I kind of cut a crude little pattern in there, so we'll see how that goes. I'm heating up the Dutch oven, and we're going to bake it in there at 475 for 20 minutes with the lid on, 25 minutes with the lid off, and then we'll see how it looks. Well, it's 10:39 at night, and I am very tired. Do I think that it was worth all of this work? It's turned out beautifully. I don't know. I don't know what all the fuss is about. I guess it's a good idea to learn how to make something like this if you ever didn't have yeast for whatever reason. So let's put it on a cutting board. I let it cool for about 10 minutes. It's still going to be very hot. But after waiting for that thing all day, I really want to try it. I'm going to grab the parchment paper, which is almost toast here. And lift it out. And now I'm going to take it off the parchment paper. Well, there it is in all its glory. Looks like it has a very good crust. Very crispy. Let's see if I can position this cutting board so you can see me cut into my very, very first loaf of sourdough bread. It could be my only one. I don't know. No, maybe not. Okay. Still very hot. Well, I am impressed so far. Get you a little closer here. The crumb looks delicious. I'm just being silly. Very nice and crispy on the outside. Soft and moist and tender on the inside. Okay, I'm going to cut a little piece and taste it without butter the first time to see how I like it. That's definitely sourdough bread. I am very proud of myself. It's a lovely crispy loaf. Are my socks blown off? Maybe about a 5 out of 10, perhaps 6. Time to put some butter on it. That might help. Maybe this will taste even better. I think if you had this with grapes and different kinds of cheeses like Gouda, Havarti, Munster, it would be really quite amazing. I think I did a good job. I think that this recipe I got from Farmhouse on Boone, and I'm going to put her link below. You should be quite pleased with it. It was fun cutting the pattern in here. It doesn't taste overly sour. Okay, I'm going to give it more than a 6. With the butter, it's definitely an 8, if not a 9. Thank you for suffering through this with me. I know it only took you a few minutes to watch it, but it took me the entire day to make it. And I know that once you do it more and more and you get used to it, then it could be maybe a shorter time period, or maybe you just have to do that all the time with sourdough. But it turned out beautifully, and I thank you for coming along for the experience with me. You have a good night. I'm going to go hit the hay. It's been a long one. We'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by.